Yes. Let's see. I do a lot of work with people, and I believe we've been here many times.
Many times.
Many times.
And so by many times, I just want to understand what you mean. Do you mean that we've had many different lives?
Many different lives. Absolutely.
Okay. And maybe explain a little more to me what you mean by many different times. Like, so you'll live a life, and then you'll survive your death, and then what happens?
Well, I believe we're here many times because we can more than one chance to fix the things we need to fix.
So we live many different lives for the purpose of fixing the things that we need to fix. Make
right.
better.
Reincarnation. Exactly.
Okay.
We're here, and we're not only on Earth. If you believe in UFOs or you believe there's other things out there, we incarnate in other places as well.
So we might not even reincarnate here on Earth as another person. We might reincarnate in a different planet somewhere.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It's a very interesting belief. On a scale from 1 to 7, how confident are you, would you say, that this belief is true? True
7.
and real?
8.
8. 8 out of 7. And on a scale from 1 to 7, how important is it for you to believe in true things? Things that are true and real?
Well, I teach people not to believe anything blindly, to feel at what is truth to them.
Truth to them?
Yeah, truth, what makes it work for them.
Okay.
And to check back and forth, I was raised by a scientist.
Okay.
My father invented microwave technology.
Wow.
Not for the ovens, but for communication.
Cool.
And he taught me to trust my intuition.
He was a scientist. He said to trust your intuition.
He said if he didn't trust his intuition, and people said to him, Albert, this is ridiculous.
Interesting.
Microwaves? Why? And he said he had to trust his intuition, because if he didn't, things would be very different in this world.
I
so
see.
he taught me to trust my intuition.
Okay.
And I do, very strongly.
So how you know that your belief is a real, true belief is your intuition.
Is my intuition, and plus I do readings with people. I do a lot of work with people. I do a lot of different things with people. I'm a life coach as well.
Yeah.
And I see that people come back to me and they tell me that I'm correct all the time.
Interesting. Well,
I'm very confident about the fact that when I say something, it's true because it's happened to me so many times with people that I'm comfortable knowing that I'm getting the right answers.
so there's a few things I'd like to talk to you about. One is, I want to get to intuition, how you know what you know. But I'd also like to talk to you about, a little bit back, you talked about truth, and I just want to make sure I understand what you mean by that. You say, do we all have our own truths, or we all have the same access to the same whatever truth that is, or how does that work, do you think?
No, I think truth is subjective to whoever it is.
I see.
What's truth for me might not be truth for you.
So we can all have our different truths.
Absolutely.
And when we have our different truths, are they all true?
Well, depending. I can believe what I want to believe. It's very simple. Like, I could say it's green, you could say it's blue, but what if we could just call it aqua?
Yeah.
You believe in your heart that it's green.
Well, maybe this will help me, if you don't mind. So here's we have a box of Mentos here. Let's just say that there's either an even or odd number of Mentos in this box.
Right.
I don't know what the answer is. I'm going to assume you don't know what the answer is.
Nope.
But could it be said that there's either even or odd number of Mentos in this box?
Absolutely.
So tell me this. If I say to you that it is my personal truth that there is an even number of Mentos in this box, when there is an odd number of Mentos in this box, is my personal truth true?
Well, then it would be let's count them, or who cares?
Yeah, we could say who cares, or we could count them.
Right, exactly.
And in that sense, we have a test and we can count them. So let's say we count them and there was an odd number of Mentos, and I believed that there was an even number of Mentos in the box. Are we saying then that my personal truth in that case might not be true?
Yeah. And your personal truth can be changed or adjusted with knowledge.
Oh.
Knowledge is power.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I can have a personal truth that's not factually correct, that's not
Exactly.
true.
Exactly.
But then
Exactly.
I can correct it with information that I get
Yeah.
and adjust my belief to what is true.
Absolutely.
That helps
But
me.
that's what makes the world go round.
Thank you.
That's what makes scientists do what they do. That's
Yeah.
what makes people interested in other people or other things.
Right. That's very helpful. Thank you. So, the way you know what you know is this sense of intuition. I guess this is an internal sense. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but a way
Yes.
of knowing.
Yes, it's
Maybe-
my trust and my belief.
So you're saying intuition is trust?
It is for me, not always. How many times have you said, I knew that was going to happen, I knew I shouldn't have done it?
Right.
You got the
Right.
information.
No, you're right. I've had situations like that.
Yeah.
I imagine we all have. And I like to know, because I have my definition of intuition. I want to make sure I understand your definition, because sometimes I can
Okay.
talk with people and then we're talking about two different things.
Right.
And so for you, like intuition, if you were to give me a definition maybe of intuition, but maybe what would you tell me what that means?
Just a feeling you have.
It's a feeling.
Feeling. Trust those feelings. If I tell people never believe anything just 100%. No, I would never tell anybody to believe something without proof that they have, without what makes them comfortable.
Yeah. I was just thinking about my own life. I'm just thinking recently, I remember a situation where I've had a feeling about something, that it was a feeling or intuition that it was true, and I was wrong. That the feeling that I had, my intuitions, for whatever reason, were not factually correct, were not true. And I was wondering at the time, was that really a reliable way for me to know what is true?
Not always. It all depends what you do. If you practice it on a daily basis, you get better at it.
So you practice it and you get better. Yeah.
It's like anything else, absolutely. And you don't, sometimes you're stubborn enough not want to believe what's going on or what it ever is. And I'm not saying everybody's feelings are 100% all the time. They're definitely not.
How do we know when an intuition is correct versus an intuition is not correct?
That takes a little practice and just what you're feeling, but sometimes you don't know. Sometimes if you're told, you always go home going straight, and somebody says, or inside of you, you feel you should take a right.
I just couldn't quite hear the last thing. I'm sorry.
I said, you're driving in a car, and you
Yeah.
always go home straight, right? There's straight, you go straight, and then
Right.
you take a left at the driveway. Something inside of you says, go right, and then go down that way. And you think, no, I want to always go straight, go home straight, no problem. And something inside of you says, no, go to the left. And you think, but I always go straight. And something inside you says, go ahead. Then you're sitting in traffic going, I knew that maybe I should have. Okay, but a lot of times also, you don't know what you're protected from going that way. Whether it's sitting in traffic, it could be a wreck, could be just about anything. That kind of intuition I follow sort of strongly.
I'm not quite sure I know what it's definitely me. Just like sometimes can be
Maybe
dense.
not.
But I want to. Are you saying that the way to know whether your intuitions are correct is to follow your intuition?
And check it out. Absolutely. Now, you can have intuition that's totally ridiculous, and you wouldn't follow anything that wasn't in your belief system or that you felt was totally ridiculous.
Yeah.
But following your intuition is something that doesn't hurt to do until you
Yeah.
find out whether you're full of baloney or not.
Let's say your intuition was you were off on your intuition.
Okay.
I'm not saying that's the case, but let's say for whatever reason what you thought was true, it wasn't true, and that's happened to me before, and it probably happened to most people.
Exactly.
How would you know that? Would you be a way that you'd figure that out maybe through your intuition, or is that a way you could figure that
Well,
out?
depends on my intuition wasn't true. Maybe it was early.
Maybe it was
Early.
early.
Maybe I had an intuition about something and it hadn't happened yet. Maybe I'm 100% wrong.
Oh,
But I find out for myself and most people I deal with, following your intuition is a really good basis to go by.
it's kind of a shortcut, maybe.
Exactly. I believe
Yeah.
that very much.
Right. I think what I'd like to do at this point is we're trying something new, so I appreciate this.
Yes.
Anthony also talks about, has these kinds of conversations as well, and he's been listening in, and I would like to maybe think about what you think about this so far.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe I could just share my observations.
Absolutely.
Or what I heard. Let me raise this up just a little bit. Can that go higher?
Yeah.
Okay. Just higher. Oh, that's good right there.
You got it.
It sounds like that. I'll sort of summarize maybe a little bit. It sounds like the way that you go about determining that what you think is true, true and real in the world, beyond just a personal truth, I think, is your intuition.
It works for me.
Yeah. What would it look like if it didn't work for you? I'm curious about an example maybe that you have where you were relying on your intuition, you were absolutely sure that it was true, and then you discovered later that it wasn't. Like what happens in that situation? I know you gave an example like maybe it was too early or that type of thing, but I'm wondering like what's going through your mind?
I usually find that things happen for a reason. If I'm led somewhere that doesn't maybe work out or whatever that is, there's a reason behind it. That's what I have found out in my personal life and the people I deal with.
Okay. I'm thinking maybe a more concrete example. Like, can you think of a time where you did use your intuition? Like, can you narrate the story? Like, what happened?
When it didn't work out?
Yeah.
Or I can think of one very, very, if it's what you mean, very recently.
Okay.
I was driving down the street from my daughter's house to my house, and I was talking to a friend of mine on the phone, and I told her, just in conversation, I need to go straight. I need to go through Anger to get to my house in McGee's Crossroads.
Yeah.
And as I'm talking to her that way, I usually hit 42 and go down. As I'm talking to her, I just went down 42, and I'm sitting in traffic.
Was it your intuition that told you to go down that other way?
Intuition told me to go straight.
Okay.
And I didn't pay attention.
I see. And because you hit traffic,
I was sitting in traffic for 20 minutes.
And that was feedback to you that your intuition led you incorrectly.
And I told my friend, rah, 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 rah. I said, here I am sitting in traffic. And she said, well, you just told me you were going to go down 50.
Yeah. Okay.
So I find that works. My daughter and I, we travel. We travel a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't feel safe on the road. Sometimes it's like, okay, maybe we should pull over, do something, go get something to eat. And usually we find out that if we don't, there was a wreck in front of us. Or there could have been. And right now, we don't even question it. We just, okay, we're going to stop. We don't feel comfortable. If something tells us this, we stop.
And what would it look like if you would say, my intuition was correct and I should have gone that way? Like instead of hitting traffic?
I might not even have noticed.
Okay.
It's just a thing that helps me that I in turn use to help other people.
Okay.
It's more than, sometimes it's more than an intuition. It's something that I feel it's a connection to a higher power, to things that I'm here to help people with.
Is it fair to say that you think your intuition ends up helping people besides yourself?
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh, well, okay. So, what would it look like if you were using your intuition to help somebody? And like, what's the example where you would be running into traffic, but with somebody else? I don't know if that does that make sense.
Well, I do a lot of talking to people and predictions and letting some people know what I feel, what I have coming through.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of pictures of babies on the phone that they say I predict they're going to be there. I have people tell me all the time, everything you said helped and it was right. You led me at the right path. Yes, I should have taken this job instead of that one. I didn't, and you were right that I should have taken the other one, or vice versa.
Okay.
And I hear that a lot. My daughter and I do. Every once in a while we think, should we be doing this? And then
really? Somebody
calls up and tells us, wow, you really helped me. Everything you said helped me so much.
Do you ever get feedback from people saying that the intuition didn't help them?
Occasionally, but it's usually, if I say 5 or 6 things, maybe one of them didn't exactly pan out the way I saw it or the way they saw it.
Yeah.
But so most of the time, I trust my intuition.
Okay. All right, good.
I find that it works. and I get so much feedback that it does, that's what makes me confident. Not confident just because I think I'm all that, confident because I get wonderful feedback.
Sure. Would you say feedback from others is your way of determining if your intuition was on point or not?
That's my proof.
Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, I talk to a dozen people a day sometimes. Sometimes a half a dozen. But if they wouldn't call me back, if I wasn't correct about at least something I was saying. A lot of the things I do is encouraging. Or I tell people things, if it's bad, I will sugarcoat it, but I will tell them without scaring the you-know-what out of them to fix something.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And it seems like you have a really good sense of intuition, and that's what we're saying. In that the intuition really serves you well, and it seems like it confirms what your belief. And I think my only residual confusion is that you're telling me that sometimes your intuition is not correct. Sometimes, like
Absolutely.
most people's.
Yeah.
And let's say your intuition is incorrect. What? Can we give a percentage of maybe 1%? 1%, 10%, 1%?
You'd have to ask people around me.
I mean, what would you say? Just 1%. So your intuition fails you 1%.
But I also don't put myself out there in things I don't understand or know either.
That's a good point.
I'm not just haphazardly guessing.
That's a good point. And
That would be very inconsiderate and very thoughtless.
Right. So where I think I'm trying to understand is that with your confidence in the belief is true is an 8 out of 7. And that's a really, really confident belief. And the way you know it's true is through your intuition. And you're telling me, even though it's a small
connection,
and even though it's a small percent chance that your intuition can and does fail you, is 8 out of 7, do you think, a good place to be on the scale for an intuition that is sometimes can fail you?
It is for my job.
For your job?
I have more pluses than minuses. And I have more pluses than minuses.
More pluses than minuses.
And I help people change their lives for the better.
Yeah. I'm trying to, sometimes I have difficulty in asking the question I want to ask. My apologies. I think what you're telling me is that you're not, because your intuition can fail you, that in some sense you're not completely certain at all times.
I wouldn't say it if I wasn't certain. There's a lot of things I'm not certain of.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say it.
And then with a belief of 8 out of 7, that to me says you're certain. So that's maybe where I'm having a little confusion.
No, I don't. If I'm not certain about it, I won't say it.
Yeah.
If I don't get a strong feeling of right or wrong or whatever it is, or yes or no or whatever it is, I don't say it. If I'm asked a question, I usually get the information downloaded that helps them. If not, I have to get another job.
I think I'm not asking my question well. I don't know if you have a...
Yeah, I think... So what I think you're asking, and so I think he's saying, if you could potentially be wrong with your intuition, and there have been instances where you are mistaken about it, right? You gave advice, you maybe got feedback that it didn't help them or led them astray in some way. How could you be so certain that your intuition is so accurate?
Because I hear it many times.
Okay.
This is what I do for a living. I have many clients. It's not a one and done. I have people that call me once a week, once a month, all the time.
You're getting overwhelming feedback that your intuition is on point. How many instances of feedback would you need where people said your intuition was incorrect? In order to take another look at your 8 out of 7.
I would definitely check it out, because I'm here to change people's lives and to help them move forward and to get to their best potential. If I thought I was doing any kind of harm, I'd be working at Walmart.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. in your view, this is actually helping people, and that's noble. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
that's one of the reasons why what we do, what we're doing. Like, we
Absolutely.
don't want to hurt people, we want to help
Right.
people. And
And that's what I do. And if
Yeah.
I'm confident enough that I can help them, if I help 99 out of 100 people, then I've done a good job.
okay.
If I help 50 people out of 51 people, I've done a good job.
Okay, so it sounds like the degree of the degree to which you're helping people is how you measure whether your intuition is accurate.
Well, absolutely. That's the only way to
Okay.
measure. There's no yardstick for intuition. I've been in psychology all my life, so I mix that with a little bit of it too, which also helps. It's just
Yeah.
sometimes it's just logical.
Okay. I have one last question, and then
Sure.
I'll give it back to Mark. And then if you have any questions for us, this can be a back and forth also. And we've taken a lot of your time too. Oh, thank you. Is it conceivable that there are instances where you are giving advice based on your intuition, and it isn't helping people, but you're not getting that feedback? That maybe the number is actually
Possibly.
yeah.
Possibly.
Okay.
But most of them I get feedback from because they call me back.
And it's positive generally.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Completely. Completely. And if it's not, I want to know that. And my
Yeah.
people know that I want to know that too.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But like I said, it's also a connection between me and a higher power that I'm very confident about as well.
Okay.
Absolutely. I've done it all my life. There hasn't been any questions about it.
Cool. Thank you so much.
That was really lovely.
Thank you. What did you think about this conversation? And thank you for bearing with us. This is the first time we've ever done two people talking
Well, I
with
think
one
that's
person.
fabulous because he has input as you have input.
Yeah.
And what he asked the question that you didn't, so I think that you felt you weren't, even though you asked it right, you felt you might not have, and he clarified that.
Yeah.
So I think that's fabulous.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we were just checking it out. We were hoping that it'd make the conversation flow a little
Yeah.
bit better, and
Yeah.
that's good. Do you have any questions for either one of us about?
No?
Well, I really do appreciate you doing this. Really, this has been a really wonderful conversation. I really get a better sense of how you believe your belief, and I appreciate
Well,
it.
my belief comes from what I believe. My belief comes from living a long life.
Yeah.
I've been here a long time. And my belief is more about how I can help other people and what I've learned helping other people. My
Yeah.
connection and some psychology on top of it all.
I'm curious if you noticed any similarities with what you do compared to what we were just doing.
Oh, absolutely.
Was
Yeah.
there some similarities or differences?
We're all here to help people and to teach and to learn and to move things around. You know, we're here to give people opinions, give people something to think about, give them an
Yeah.
alternative way of looking at things.
At any point, do you think that we gave you advice that you should take?
I hadn't thought about it.
That would be a difference that I would see in the two approaches, because it seems like they're coming to you for advice, you're intuiting things and giving them advice. Whereas what we're doing here is, hopefully, we're not messaging anything to you other than maybe to help you reflect on your own thinking. So that might be one difference that I would see right off the bat. But I'd be curious if you thought that we were actually giving you
Something to think about,
advice,
definitely.
or
Something
actually, yeah, okay.
to look at.
Something to think about?
To think about, absolutely.
Okay. That's probably the only thing that I'm hoping to give to people that I talk
But that's
to.
important. That's very important. Because if you don't have that, you don't grow.
Exactly.
grow.
Exactly. Thank you so much for sending your friend over.
Absolutely.
Okay. Bye, Jim.
Absolutely. Are we done? Are we through? Okay.
Up to you.
How right am I about things?
She's so right. She's
You're
never
gonna be on
wrong.
camera, just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. She has read me for 20 years, and I get mad at her because she is so right.
how you originally know each other?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is your name?
Candy.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, here, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Has there, and this might be tough to answer because your friend is sitting right here, but has there ever been a time where you have received advice based on her intuition? Well, let me just put it as a hypothetical. If you were to
I've
receive,
been wrong.
yeah, if you received poor advice, would you give her that feedback? Would you be as open to giving her feedback on poor advice as you might be on the good advice that you're getting?
Me? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to lay it down absolutely.
You would lay it down absolutely. Okay.
Absolutely,
A
yeah.
lot
Okay.
of people do, but that helps me grow.
Yeah.
Helps them grow as well.
But
Okay.
never mind.
Okay.
I get mad at her because I'm like, hey, this guy, and she's like,
Never happened. That's
No.
pretty good record. Thank you.
She said you should come over and get a reading. Hello.
Hi there.